1, 2, 3. This is Amari Purple Talk. Yes. Welcome to episode 59 of Amari Purple Talk, a podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, your imagination funk soloist. Thank you once again for tuning in. Please leave your comments in the comments section below, and please download on your favorite podcast platform. If you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And before we dive into our main topics, once again, we're announcing, but this time it's official. We've got the Prince Twitter thread Series 4, which will be going from October 6th through November 20th. And this Prince Twitter thread will, of course, cover the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe edition. This thread will begin with essays on the original album remaster, and we've got the heavy hitters moderated by DJ UMB and Edgar Cruz, and we've got a lot of folks. We've got Erica Thompson, we've got Scott Woods, we've got Hassan, we've got Casey Rain, we've got D'Angela with the DE, and if you put an apostrophe on it, you gonna get knocked out. So show some respect, put that DE on the name. But we've got the heavy hitters, we've got the podcast experts, we've got the writing experts, and we're going to dive into this album. I'll be doing a door, and I'd better bring my A game, because that is my favorite track on the album, or one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's a favorite to many, so I hope I do it justice, but stay tuned, folks. So if you're on Twitter, hashtag Prince Twitter thread, and check it out. And we also have on October 10th a virtual Sign of the Times Super Deluxe celebration that is produced by Polished Solid Productions, and by all means check that out as well. Let's see, that will be strictly online, kind of similar to the symposiums, so I'm looking forward to checking that out on the 10th. And with that out of the way, let's start the show, and we're going to dive into the first topic. First topic is, will there be a Morris Day biopic in development? Okay, so I'm going through social media on Wednesday, and I just happened to just jump on Instagram, and the very first thing that pops up on Instagram, on my news feed, or whatever feed, Instagram feed, there was a post from Morris Day, and it's a video of a young man playing some pretty funky jazzy drums. And I'm going to read Morris Day's post, and this is at Rashawn Fagan. Hitting them skins like a young Morris Day. Hashtag Wednesday, hashtag movie, hashtag biopic, hashtag cool, hashtag it's in the book, hashtag coming soon. And I'm like, I take it there's going to be a Morris Day biopic based on the book. So I kind of did a little digging around. Now, I did not find any official announcements, say from any major studio or major network, like maybe BET or VH1 or let's see, what else? What other channels? HBO, Showtime. No official announcements, but I did look up Rashawn Fagan. Yeah, so what I did sort of like a Wikipedia, and it did have his credits listed as probably the most notable thing was the lead as Bobby DeBarge in the Bobby DeBarge story. Something that I have never seen, so I can't really gauge what his acting chops are. I don't, yeah, like I said, I knew it was out, and I think it kind of came and went on television, or I don't know what day it was, aired on, or what network it was on, but, I guess, I don't know, maybe it aired before, pre-pandemic, and we all got caught up in this madness that we're in now, and, maybe it kind of got lost in the shuffle, or something like that, but this is something I'll probably seek out and give it a watch. But apparently, he impressed Morris Day enough to want to tap this kid to play the lead in a Morris Day biopic. So, I kind of did some digging around in IMBD, and I pulled up his biography. He is also a musician. His name is Rashawn Fagan. And he's been in Los Angeles for 18 months. His first creative moments of his career was it was a soda commercial with the group Boys to Men. He was also had a small role in Spider-Man 2. And I'm assuming that's the Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man. So I'm going to have to dig that up and check that out as well. Let's see what else. He was on a show on Disney Channel too. I can't think of the name of the show right at the moment, but I don't know. I might have to look at these things and kind of gauge an idea of what the acting chops are. But like I said, apparently if it's good enough for Morris Day to approve, but like I said, if you check out the post on Morris Day's Instagram and you see him playing the drums, yeah, the kid is no slouch on the drums. He can play, and that's a bonus. So if you have the acting chops and you can handle the drums, then definitely check it out. I know he's also released some music. Again, I haven't had a chance to check it out as of yet. But again, I know in a lot of the biographies, he does, let's see, let me pull this up here. He is heavily inspired by old school music like jazz, soul, and R&B. And he feels that helped sculpt his own creative expression through the arts. So, okay, so, musicologist as well. Hey, let's check it out. So, again, there's no official word from any network or movie studio, but given the hashtag coming soon, if something like that is in development, meaning that Morris Day is talking to a studio or a studio and a network, or speaking with a network about developing this project and possibly basing it off of the book On Time, A Princely Life in Funk, then yeah, I definitely want to check this out whenever it drops. But the main question is, you've got the kid playing Morris Day. Who is going to play Prince? That would be even the bigger question. And if you get that key piece of casting, and depending on who's directing it, and if you can get the estate to approve a lot of the music in it, I don't know, I'd be very interested to check this out. I'm not a huge biopic person. I kind of just take them with a grain of salt. I mean, I don't watch every biopic that comes along, but the ones that I've seen, some have been really good and some not so good. So I don't know. But this one, yeah, I would definitely take a little bit more interest in, or a lot more interest in, just because that Morris Day is excited about the possibility. Now, again, as I mentioned, like with the Prince documentary, when it comes to a person, say, in this particular case, Morris Day, who's around to, approve or disapprove, the content and what goes in, what goes out. But given how forthcoming or how transparent he was with the book, then I believe the biopic isn't going to hold anything back. And that really depends. If it's a motion picture, then depending on the rating, yeah, there's a lot you can do. Or even if it's just a PG-13, there's still a lot you can do. And you could be very up and honest and forthcoming. So if it sticks to the book in that respect, then yeah, I would be more likely to be interested in it. But again, when it comes to other figures or their estates, then there's that sort of temptation to just gloss everything over and have it be this sort of happy-go-lucky type of presentation. And if there were certain controversies, or it's like, yeah, this person overall was a good person, but, they had this controversy, they had this scandal, or they went through this, or they had a period with drugs, or whatever, and you don't acknowledge that in a fair and impartial way, and you just gloss over it like this person never did anything wrong to anybody in their lives, then yeah, you kind of run that risk of that happening as well. But like I said, I don't really get a sense that's what we would end up with the Morris Day biopic. So just on that basis, I would be very excited to check it out. So until we get some official word, then we'll bring it up on a future episode of Amari Purple Talk. But I don't know, have any of you seen Morris Day's post? And if you have, what do you think? Do you like the idea of a Morris Day biopic? Check it out. I've done a review of On Time, A Princely Life in Funk. So if you go to my YouTube channel on Amari Communications, then you can check that review out as well. So it's a great book. I enjoyed it. Like I said, he was upfront and honest with everything. I think it would make a great biopic, and especially with the format of the book, if they follow that, then yeah, this is going to be a very, very fun book. So looking forward to it. But what do you guys think? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And now we're going to move on to our next topic, and this one is going to cover a Lovesexy Super Deluxe. And the topic of this is that Sony, post 2021, obviously at some point, yeah, they're going to probably lead off with just reissuing the classic albums, fully remastered on DVD, no deluxe editions. And maybe, hopefully after that, some kind of compilation of just stuff we've never heard for. This is my wish list, really. I have no official word from the estate, no official word from Sony, but I'm just speculating. But at some point, at some point, because I'm guessing maybe the only other Super Deluxe edition we're getting will come from Warner Brothers, and more than likely it would probably be a Parade Super Deluxe. And like I said, it'll be 2021. Sony will have the non-movie classic license to the master recordings. And like I said, I'm guessing they'll address reissues of the classic albums, just the standalone albums, original albums, and maybe deal with a compilation of their own vault material, maybe a box set covering the whole career. But at some point, somebody is going to have to address Super Deluxe editions, you know, and Around the World in a Day Deluxe Edition, Dirty Mind, Controversy, what else? Diamonds and Pearls, the Symbol album. And at some point you're going to have to get around to Lovesexy. So I'm thinking Warner Brothers 2021 drops their Parade Super Deluxe Edition. And at some point after that, Sony is going to have to think about doing a Super Deluxe edition of their own. And what better way to start off with than, I would say, Lovesexy. Now, this was the concept I thought of when coming up with the topic for this episode. As I started doing my homework, I've come to realize there's really not a lot of material you can work with to come up with a Super Deluxe edition. Due to the simple fact, when we look at the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe edition, and we have the magnitude of material from late 85 to possibly the earliest of 1987, you know, that was material that covered 3, 4, 5 albums and then some. It was that prolific of a time. But if you look at what went on the minute that Prince was basically finished with Sign of the Times, you know, from the moment that he turned in Crystal Ball and Warner Brothers said, nope, too many albums, trim it down to 2. And once he trimmed it down to 2 and then probably added You Got the Look or something like that to it. And once that was released, unless there's stuff in the vault that we just don't know about, like, you know, there's periods in his life where he literally recorded a song a day, and these are things that just didn't make their way into the sort of collector's circuit. But going on that, like I said, there's just not a lot that, you know, would make a Lovesexy Super Deluxe, not even to, or barely, I would say this, barely to the magnitude of what we got with the Purple Rain Deluxe Edition. Meaning that you only got 1 CD of vault material. That might be the most you could get from a Lovesexy Super Deluxe Edition. Like I said, as soon as I started doing my homework, because I really wanted to know, well, what songs could you put? Because again, you look at what was going on in 1987. There was putting together the new band. There was rehearsing the new band. Then there was the Sign of the Times tour. Then there was the Sign of the Times movie. Somewhere after that, he put together the Black Album, decided, oh, not going to release that. And then by the time you get to December, basically he knocked off the Lovesexy album within a month. You know, by the time January rolled around, then it was sequencing and mixing and remixing and deciding on the final sequence and then releasing it. So basically, like I said, just doing my homework here, turning to Per Nilsson's book, The Vault, which I don't have a physical copy of, but I do have a PDF version of it, and just kind of doing the research based on that. You know, starting with the middle of January, the only song of significance that, you know, here's the thing. What I found out was there's some overlap with Graffiti Bridge, because during 1987 he was sort of conceptualizing that as a film and what songs to put into that. So basically, really, a bulk of the material that was done in 1987 and going kind of into 1988, by, you know, before Lovesexy was completely, you know, mixed, mastered, and then released to the public, you know, a good 50 to almost 75% of what Prince did work on in 1987 was for Graffiti Bridge, which means that these songs would actually end up not on a Lovesexy Super Deluxe. It would end up on a Graffiti Bridge Super Deluxe. And what's left, so like I said, starting from mid-January, Prince worked on Jill Jones's 7/7 Bleecker Street, which was pretty much her song. He just did some overdubs to it. He added some overdubs to it. Jill had a different set of musicians record that track, and Prince just added a couple of things here and there. So that wouldn't qualify for a Lovesexy Super Deluxe, nor would it qualify for Graffiti Bridge Super Deluxe. However, you can possibly, because I'm guessing, like, basing it off of, say, the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe and that vault material, you know, there were songs that weren't necessarily intended for Sign of the Times. They were just recorded within that period. Or certain songs kind of, you know, reflected what he was going through that motivated the intentions for what the Sign of the Times album was going to feel like. You know, if you're going to say that the best way you can measure who Prince really is actually through the songs, then a lot of those vault tracks tell one hell of a story. So if you're going to kind of base a Lovesexy Super Deluxe on that same template, then the song Come Home, which actually ended up on Mavis Staples' first Paisley Park album, that one you could put as one of the vault tracks for a Lovesexy Super Deluxe, because Sign of the Times was pretty much done. It just needed whatever final mixing, mastering, and then you know, finding the space to release it. So apparently that project was officially done. So Come Home, which was probably one of the first things he did starting in January of 1987, and then that would qualify for a vault track on the Lovesexy Super Deluxe. You also had a song like Telepathy, So Strong, around July 87, a song called No Changes, The Sex of It, which was the song that ended up with Kid Creole and the Coconuts. But you also have songs like The Latest Fashion, Melody Cool, and Graffiti Bridge, which was recorded around this same period. And again, those would be candidates for a Graffiti Bridge Deluxe Edition. You have some things that could go either way. There were, well, actually, by the time you get to, say, August 87, there was Focus On the Sign of the Times movie. But prior to that, there were songs that actually ended up as part of Eric Leeds' solo album, which I think originally was intended to be a third Madhouse album. So, I mean, you could include those or you could not include those. And like I said, so the bulk of that summer, you had the European leg of the Sign of the Times tour. That tour never made it to the States, so hence the creation of the Sign of the Times movie. So you had that, maybe a little one-off concert at Rupert's. You had the appearance on the MTV Music Awards or Video Awards. September, Paisley Park was officially opened, but not long after that, Prince leaves for Paris, and while he's over in Paris, he's working on a draft of the Graffiti Bridge movie. So the first draft of that script, and that script listed about 12 songs. So like I said, there's songs, you know, like I said, we don't know the exact dates of when they were recorded. But however, though they were recorded around 1987, yeah, you couldn't, because they were intended for Graffiti Bridge. So in that particular case, these songs, and we did cover the possibilities of what a Graffiti Bridge Super Deluxe would entail. So you can look up that episode of Amari Purple Talk. By all means, check that out. So when Prince completed his first draft of Graffiti Bridge, you had songs like Ruthie Washington Jet Blues. There's a song called Camille. Everything Could Be So Fine. Of course, there's The Question of You, which made it in there. A version of Crucial. And I wonder if that's the version with Eric Leeds on sax that we thought was going to end up in the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe, but we got a big surprise. A version with different lyrics at the beginning. Power Fantastic was intended for Graffiti Bridge. Something called Beat Town. Melody Cool. Version of Big Tall Wall. Another third version probably. And you got Grand Progression. Oh, no. It says, according to the Vault, 3 leftovers from 1986 projects: Crucial, Power Fantastic, Big Tall Wall. Let's see. The Question of You was originally tracked in 1985. So I don't know if this is a different version from the version on Graffiti Bridge. Again, who knows? But since these are specifically named in a draft for Graffiti Bridge, these would obviously end up on a Graffiti Bridge Super Deluxe and not a Lovesexy Super Deluxe. So by the time you get to October, then Prince is working on the Black Album. And because the Black Album is sort of tied to the creation of Lovesexy, then you kind of get into, you know, where you can include a few more songs to it. Let's see, there's a version of You. Of course, that song was originally done on The Rebels. That's that side project that's still in the vault. But this is a different version, and I think this arrangement is closer to what Paula Abdul released. I think, was it her second album, I think, that track came out on. Let's see, Take This Beat, which ended up as part of the 12-inch single of I Wish You Heaven. And then after the Black Album was finished, you had a song called Bloody Mouth, which was intended for Graffiti Bridge. An instrumental called In a Winter Mood. You've had that, and then around December, after the infamous experiences of December 1st, 1987, which led to the shelving of the Black album and the creation of the Lovesexy album. In between that time, he worked with Ingrid Chavez on a lot of songs, which ended up on her album. But probably the only candidate out of that would be the track Cross the Line. Let's see. So you had also on the 11th, there was some stuff with Sheila E. Probably the most famous out of that one is Scarlet Pussy, which is the B-side of I Wish You Heaven. And that definitely would make the cut. That would be your single edits and extended versions CD. That would make that cut. There are alternate versions of Lovesexy and alternate versions of Positivity that would make the cut. 2 tracks that ended up on Mavis Staples' album. That was done probably while Lovesexy was being mixed, mastered, and getting prepared for its final sequencing for release. But interesting, and Jaguar could possibly make the cut. A very early version of the Max, which is different from the version on the Symbol album. That is another possible song for inclusion. So like I said, you really wouldn't get the magnitude of A Sign of the Times Super Deluxe, but what you can get would be, I don't know, depending. Like I said, we don't know every single song that was recorded in 1987, because it looks like, based on the research, there was enough time spent in Minneapolis to where definitely more songs were created, and especially from the home studio, because Paisley Park was still under construction around that time. So it's possible if more stuff surfaces, meaning that, okay, there weren't an abundance of tracks that were meant to go to other artists, because really Paisley Park around that time, you did have your Taja Seville's, your Del Basio's, the 3 O'Clock. They were dropping albums, but there was no significant input from Prince other than maybe 1 track or 2. And again, maybe depending on when those were recorded, I think like a bulk of the Bonnie Raitt stuff, that was mid-January of 1987 when she officially came out to Minneapolis to put her vocals and her guitar on the tracks like I Need a Man, Promise to Be True, There's Something I Like About Being Your Fool, those tracks. So those are already on the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition already. So barring that, there may be, like I said, again, songs that we're just not aware of. And maybe that might be the good thing. Maybe we can get another 2 or 3 CDs of vault material. But based on if this is all that's available, because like I said, a good 75% of this stuff is already just going to go on a Graffiti Bridge Super Deluxe. And that makes the argument for that one even more exciting, because in addition to this material, there is post or pre and post Batman album, the Rave Into the Joy Fantastic album. And this one, I think, Graffiti Bridge, I think you can just about get maybe 2, maybe 3 CDs of vault material on that. That would be the sleeper Super Deluxe edition of Prince fandom, barring anything, because I think we all want everything to be this big, massive box set and 8, 9, 10 CDs. And not every project is going to warrant that. I think just like with the Purple Rain, even though there is a multitude of material that would justify 3-4 CDs for Purple Rain, which is what we should have received, but didn't. And the hint from Michael Howell is that sometime in the future, and I'm guessing that may end up being 2024, to where we will get a Purple Rain Deluxe of the magnitude of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition. But what you can do with the Lovesexy Super Deluxe Edition is what you lack in the magnitude of vault material, you make up with the live material. Because the live shows were the extension of Prince's overall vision for the Lovesexy concept. I mean, it did, even though we enjoyed the tour, whether it was in the United States or in Europe, as Prince fans, we enjoyed it. We rank it very high as far as our favorite Prince concerts of all time. Overall, according to the mainstream, because the album itself didn't crack 1 million, it only sold 500,000 copies. The first in a very long time for Prince to sell that low. And the tour didn't sell as many tickets as it should have. So, but in hindsight, again, amongst us Prince fans, it was a very enjoyable album and a very enjoyable tour for us. So, that being said, what is lacking in the magnitude of vault material, make up for it with the live shows. I'm not sure what the best live recording, at least CD wise, that you can include. I'm sure there's other Prince experts, podcast hosts, or just Prince fans in general that would know the absolute best Lovesexy concert that would qualify for a good CD to include, but definitely include that one. And of course, include the Lovesexy live video. And you can also throw in as a bonus the Small Club live CD. I think somebody recommended that on social media as a good inclusion for a good Lovesexy Super Deluxe Edition. But like I said, it probably wouldn't be, as far as the vault material, depending, because I do enjoy Prince's version of Come Home a lot. I love the Mavis Staples version of it, but the Prince version is just as good. I think Mavis, being the more seasoned veteran singer, interprets it slightly better than Prince did. But there's nothing wrong with the original, whether you call it a demo, or I don't think, because Mavis wasn't signed at the time that he recorded this, and I think this song was intended for someone else at the time as well. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with this version too, but I enjoy that version a lot. So, but there's not a lot of, I would say, heavy classic bootleg hitters that would qualify. And the ones that you would think would qualify for this period actually qualify for Graffiti Bridge. And like I said, that would be, that again, the sleeper Super Deluxe of all Prince Super Deluxe editions. Mark my words on that. That one's the sleeper, because it would have so many classic bootlegs, songs that ended up in other places, songs recorded by other people, all in this one set. you know, again, you know, for me, Graffiti Bridge as an album at the time of release was a very strong album for me. It was just that the movie for a good long while ruined it, you know. But, you know, just over the years, you know, I can listen to most of that as an album of a collection of songs, and it works, and it's pretty cohesive throughout. So, but having that vault material weigh that up, not sure what you can include in that. Could you include a new tour? I don't know. To me, not every Super Deluxe box set needs to have a live recording go with it. So far, with 1999 and Sign of the Times, they've been sort of the cherry on top, as well as the live DVD. But since there was no major push, you know, like Purple Rain and, you know, say even Parade, you know, there was no significant Graffiti Bridge tour that was attached to this. So to me, like a new tour would be just like a standalone DVD that you would just sell just as the DVD alone with it. But, you know, but back to as far as Lovesexy being a Super Deluxe, like I said, it will not be a huge box set like a Sign of the Times. You know, like I said, Purple Rain deserves a better box set. But when that does happen, whether it's in 2024 or 2034, when it's 50-year anniversary, regardless of when that happens, that will happen. And it will be just as massive as the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. Parade will be pretty significant. You know, 1999 was significant. There's plenty of other classic albums that will be. Lovesexy, unfortunately, will not be of that magnitude just because there just wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough space. You know, this one was, it's a great album. And again, don't take, you know, previously what I've said, don't take that the wrong way. It's not a negative thing. But you look at the fact that there was the Black Album ready to go, shelved at the very last minute, and then less than a month records a pretty solid album like Lovesexy. That's genius, you know. And because it was recorded that quickly, it didn't have the room to breathe like a Sign of the Times did. Or, you know, even though Around the World in a Day, from our perception, when we were around in 84 and 85, that was pretty quick. But we know that once filming on Purple Rain wrapped, and there were only so many songs left to record, Around the World in a Day started a lot earlier than what we realized. So there, in that respect, again, you have enough material. You know, between the family tracks and all that, just to kind of weigh that box set up. But given that there was even less time for a Lovesexy album to be recorded, you know, like I said, it's slim pickings. But I think the selling point is put out whatever vault tracks that you can, even if that just ends up being a single CD. You'll also have the single edits. You'll have the extended versions, the B-sides. You have that CD. So you got 3 CDs, the original album included in that. Then you've got a Lovesexy live CD, whichever the best possible live recording that's available. You know, hopefully that'll surprise us. You got the small club you can toss into that. That's a good 5th disc. And then you've got the DVD, you know, of the Lovesexy Live that originally was on VHS over, you know, overseas. And then us over here in the US will finally get to have our own official copy of that on DVD. So it wouldn't be a bad one. It just won't be as significant size-wise as Sign of the Times or 1999. But that's okay. But what's most important is, what do you think? Were you aware that there just wasn't enough time to mount a significant amount of tracks for Lovesexy Super Deluxe? Or are you aware that there might be some more that I might have overlooked in my research? Or should we get Dwayne Tudor on the case and wait for him to drop the Lovesexy Sessions volume, and we'll be surprised even more? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And that is going to wrap up this episode of Amari Purple Talk. Again, thanks for tuning in. And as always, don't forget to download and listen on your favorite podcast platform. If you're listening on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Check out my website, AmariCommunications.com. You can also find me on Twitter at RichardCole_now and on Instagram at RichardCole_Amari. And as always, be safe out there. Again, keep your immune systems up, because we got to be around for many more Super Deluxe editions and documentaries and Twitter threads and symposiums and Sony stuff. And we got to give racism 5 of these across the lip. And love one another and keep it purple and on the one.